Almonte's Key Food, proudly serving communities throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island for over 30 years. When you shop Key Food, you'll always find fresh products, great weekly specials, and exceptional personalized service. Visit at any of their Key Food stores at 8235 153rd Avenue, Lindenwood, New York, 935 Rosedale Road, Valley Stream, New York, and 6620 Avenue U, Brooklyn, New York.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
KT McFarland. So here's the deal, KT. So my job the last couple of weeks has been to take people like you, who are much smarter than me, I admit it, much smarter, to take people like you and have you admit that I've been right using the word stuck, nowhere, those words the last couple of months to describe where we are with the Iran war. In fact, I sat down on the curvy couch on Sunday, and I think I shocked the hell out of Rachel Campos, Duppy, and Charlie Hurt and Griff Jenkins, because I think they expected me to say, hey, we won, we're doing great, and we're not. We're not. If you want to use a Dow Jones as a measure, I guess. But that's not the measure. We're not. So the question is, KT, can I get you to admit that we have not won anything at this point, anything, and that right now we are basically stuck?
No, and I don't understand. Why do you think we've lost?
I didn't say we lost, but we didn't win. There's a big difference between we've lost and we won. We won nothing. We won nothing. The Strait of Hormuz was open before we started this. We made this problem. The naval blockade wasn't there before we started this. We made that problem. Now, you want to sell me on Midnight Hammer? That was amazing. It was perfect. We really did knock out their centrifuges. They can't even enrich this uranium. That was a tremendous effort. You want to tell me Operation Epic Fury was great? I agree with that too. But the last 2 months, these constant ceasefires, which is ridiculous because we're still firing at each other, these constant extensions. No, for the last 2 months, we've done nothing. Nothing. That's my point.
Okay, first of all, as far as ceasefire negotiations go, or negotiating while you have a ceasefire, there's a long history of a lot of fighting, tit for tat fighting going on during the negotiations. And I remember being with Kissinger when we were negotiating the end of the Vietnam War, and we were negotiating for 2 years, and there was fighting throughout. But in the end, you got a deal. Now, when I look at sort of objectively, okay, what have we achieved? And you're right, Operation Midnight Hammer, Operation Epic Fury, particularly Operation Economic Fury, has put Iran in a position where there's no way they win anything. Their proxies are diminished, maybe not all of Hezbollah.
Hold on a second. I don't care what Iran's economic situation is. I care about America. Now, the Dow Jones is up and the S&P is up, but guess what? Goods are still too expensive. Interest rates are still high. Inflation is still high. What do I care what Iran looks like and economically? That's not going to stop them, KT, and you know better. That's not going to stop them from continuing to get weapons from other countries, money from other countries, and continue this nonsense.
Well, where are they getting the money? They're not getting the money from any other country.
Oh, sure they are. Sure they are.
Sure they are. China at a discounted price. The assets are all still frozen. The money is now moving as Iran sells its oil in dollars, which means that we now can have visibility of it because it has to go through American banks, and we can see who's buying it, for how much are they paying, where's the money going once Iran achieves it. And as far as the economic part of it, where I think your main complaint is that it's screwed the American people economically, I would disagree with that. The price of oil this morning was $57 a barrel. That's half of what it was during Biden, and it's starting to come down dramatically. Oil national average price of oil is under $4 a gallon. You and I live in New York, so it's a bit, sort of 4 and plus. But throughout the country, it's at sort of $3.50, $3.70, $3.80. That's going down because the price of oil remains down. As Iran is selling its oil, in a funny way, that helps our economy because it puts more money, more oil in the world, and that there drives, supply and demand. It drives down the price of oil. So if I'm looking at sort of what's Iran gotten out of this, what have we gotten out of this, and what is the long-term prospect for the United States, I would say Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons. So that doesn't threaten. Well, maybe they weren't ready to threaten the United States with nuclear weapons because they didn't have long-range missiles, but they have medium-range missiles, which could have hit Europe, certainly could have hit Israel. Their nuclear weapons program is decimated. Their missile program, where they were trying to build missiles that could reach the United States, that's gone. Their ability to reconstitute their networks, their Hezbollah, Hamas, et cetera networks, I think that's greatly diminished. Israel's taken a lot of chunks out of Hezbollah. Israel got a deal last week, an agreement with Lebanon. Lebanon now recognizes that now Hezbollah is the odd man out, right? It's Israel plus Lebanon against Hezbollah. That's a good thing. Hamas is almost gone. The peace plan, the Gaza peace plan is proceeding. So I'm looking at this, and these are all wins. Now, do we have some surrender document where they're signing on the dotted line? No. But the American economy is in pretty good shape and going to get better.
Yeah, that is true. What you just said is 100% true. But when we started this war, at least back then, it wasn't about the American economy. Now, it's great that that has become a byproduct of all of this. And you're right, the nuclear stuff, but they still have the dust. Now, I know that we hurt them badly when we hammered them during Midnight Hammer, but they still have it. And the Strait, they do run that Strait. It's not us. The naval blockade did a terrific job.
I mean, they run one. They're free lanes in the Strait. They run theirs, and there's the Oman side of it. We're running that. Ships are going in and out. What, like 160, 70, 80, 100 a day are going out, and all that pent-up oil on the tankers is now flooding into the market. And as far as the dust, we see who's going into those, cratered mountains. We know if they're going to try to get in there. They're not tricky enough to somehow dig a 5,000-mile tunnel where they're going to get at the dust. So is the dust buried? Has the dust been accounted for? Yeah, we'll get there, but it's gone. They're not using that enriched uranium to make weapons, and they don't have any missiles to deliver those weapons. So I'm looking at all that, and I'm thinking, okay, in the fullness of time, what's likely to happen next? If Iran decides it's going to spend its money on Hezbollah and Hamas and death to America, then the Iranian people, who were pretty angry about their economy 6 months ago, are going to be really angry about their economy now. It's not getting any better for the Iranian people.
But they can't do anything about it. They're not armed. They shot down 40,000 in the street.
Yeah, but we'll see them this time around. And guess what? They start shooting 40,000 tomorrow. I would think the United States could have a reaction, a military reaction, an economic reaction, but a reaction. They're not going to get away with shooting 50,000 people in the streets with the whole world watching.
I would hope so. Hope not, I should say. So you said to me, what makes you think we're losing? I never said we were losing, but it sounds to me like you think we won.
I think we've already won, and the fact that these negotiations don't have a sign on the dotted line thing is of less concern to me than the several factors that I pointed out. The economic win for the United States, price of oil's down. A lot of the if you look at, say, Iranian oil, where is that going? Well, the whole world was supposed to buy Iranian oil, right, if it ever was unsanctioned. It's been unsanctioned. Who's buying it? Only China, and a big discount. So where are the countries that want to buy oil buying it from? They're buying it from us. They weren't buying it from us before. They were buying it from Iran, Gulf countries. So I think it's terrific for our oil industry, our natural gas industry. The price of oil, as I said, is coming down. We're kind of at that sweet spot where American companies can make money, but it's not so high that it affects us at the gas tank. Now, will the inflation that the Iran war temporarily caused start coming down? I think we're already seeing signs that it is.
Do you think the American people agree with you?
I don't know. I mean, you're the politician, Sid. You're the guy who has the pulse of the
I have
people.
no idea. Listen, the people that I speak to don't agree with you. But in the big numbers, they don't. They think that we're stuck in a mess. We haven't completed anything. And while you're giving us really great stuff here, this is great. And you're making a very, very good point that we have done well. I wouldn't agree with you that we won anything yet, but certainly you're making an argument towards that stage, then we're losing if people think that. But there are very few people I speak to that think that we've won or we're winning or we're doing great. Anecdotal, it's just me, but very few.
No, and I'm sure that a lot of people feel that way. I think the administration's done a pretty lousy job of communicating the successes it's had. But I would also say we're moving on from Iran. So what's going to be next? Cuba's next. And that will be a huge...
Hold on. Before you get to Cuba, I know, before you get to Cuba, you said we're moving on from Iran. Do you know where I was last week? I was in Israel for 8 days.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. And the last thing the Israelis want to hear is we're moving on from Iran. You know, I said this all week long. At one point last year, President Trump's approval rating in Israel was like 99%. And again, anecdotal. I don't think I spoke to one Israeli that's not angry with President Trump. Not one. Not one. Because they really thought that America was in this to annihilate Iran, not to get the Dow Jones up, not to get oil prices down. They thought they were in this to make sure Iran does not have the capability to make a nuclear weapon and also make sure that Iran was basically done. And that's not close either. And the Israelis are pissed. I'm telling you this.
Okay, so Iran does no longer have the ability to make a nuclear weapon. That should make a lot of Israelis really happy. But number two, obliterate Iran. What's this supposed to mean? This is 91 million people. This is like the people who chant death to Israel. I don't want 91 million Iranians to be obliterated. I want their leadership to be gone.
Right.
I want their leadership to be gone. But we're not going to do it. But
why
we're
not?
not in the regime change.
Why not? Why not? What do you mean we're not in the regime change? Why let the IRGC stays in power? What do you think is going to happen in 5 years?
I think that the IRGC's days are limited, and the fact that the Iranian people, again, in the fullness of time, what's going to happen in Iran? Fast forward 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Where's Iran going to be? It's not if it decides to use the money from its oil revenues, which is not as significant as people thought it would be. If it decides it's not going to rebuild bridges and hospitals and better the lot of the Iranian people, they're going back to the streets. And the world will be watching. And like I said, I don't think anybody's going to tolerate the IRGC gunning people down now. So where is Iran in 6 months' time? The Iranian people are angry. Where is the IRGC? We already are seeing splits in the Iranian leadership. There are probably three groups in the Iranian leadership right now. One is the IRGC, and those 160,000 guys, they don't want to settle anything. They'd much rather be martyrs for the cause. You then have the parliamentarians, and they're looking to do a deal. They're pragmatists. They got a country to run. And then you have the Iranian people, who are pretty convinced, don't like anybody there, but they're certainly not going to back the IRGC. I'd like to see in the fullness of time how the Iranian government regime survives in any sense of power when they've got 91 million people angry at them, and they've got a viable alternative. There's a reason President Trump, I think, kept the Iranian army, the regular Iranian army, the guys that were in the, that's an army that predates the Iranian Revolution, and the Iranian police force, the regular guys, not the Basij, not the IRGC. Those guys are still intact. The good guys, the Iranian army and the Iranian, they're still intact.
Yeah.
That could be the basis of a new government in Iran. So for me, my big success here is a slow-rolling coup getting rid of the IRGC.
Okay, cut you up. I'm sorry about Cuba. You said they're next. They are on next. What do you see there?
Oh, I think that deal is more or less in place. That the business leaders have gone back and forth. Marco Rubio is talking in Spanish, in Cuban Spanish, to a lot of the leadership there, especially even the Castro grandchildren or grandson, and that the only thing sort of standing in the way is like Maduro. It's those top, incompetent, corrupt, apparatchik communist leaders. But the country wants to change. The leaders of the country want to change, an economic change. There'll be massive investment in Cuba. And I think it'll become, my guess is Donald Trump goes to Havana before the end of his term, and that Cuba 5 years from now is a close American ally.
Love it. One more. President Trump really did campaign against socialism in 2024. And just winning everywhere. We got nine different candidates who won here in New York. We all watched Colorado in horror a couple nights ago. We watched the primaries. I was in Israel. I was watching in horror last Tuesday when people like Chevalier and Valdez and Brad Lander won. Are you afraid of what this country is going to look like in the very near future?
Not in the near future. Maybe in the near future, not in the long-term future. Why? So what are these socialists? I mean, they don't even know what socialism is. Most of the people who were voting from the leaders of the socialist movement, communist movement, do. But I think the people who were voting for them are voting because they don't like this. They don't like their lot in life right now. They don't think the economy's good. They're not getting ahead. They can't buy a house. Their college education, they have a lot of student debt, no jobs. And so how do you fix that? If I look back in history, we had a very similar pro-communist socialist movement in the 1930s. Why? Heart of the Great Depression. Then World War II comes, and then after World War II, prosperity. What happened to socialism in the 1950s and 60s and gone. So I think that the cure for this, the socialist movement in the country, is prosperity. And I think we are headed there. And I do think the next 25 years will be a golden era for the United States economically. In the technology, I think we're ahead in artificial intelligence, and we're going to keep that lead. And then we're going to, by light years, jump ahead of everybody else, and that's going to be the wave of the future. So I don't like what they're doing right now, and they'll do some really stupid stuff, and these cities will lose more people, and they'll be horrible places to live. But in the long run, as the greater economy starts improving, then I think the whole dream of socialism kind of goes away, because there is a good alternative to a corrupt government and to socialism, which nobody really thinks is going to work.
This may have been your greatest performance ever. You know that? That's how great you were today. I mean it, KT, just fantastic. You came armed with a whole bunch of real facts, and you were great. So I loved you already. You know that. I think you're the best, but thank you very much for this.
Thank you. And I'll be your foreign policy advisor when you're mayor.
Oh, my God. You are going to be. I'm serious. I mean, maybe even chief of staff. I don't know. Something big for you, because you are a genius. Oh, quickly, how are you celebrating Saturday?
Oh, well, we have a parade in Southampton. It's like a Hallmark movie parade where the kids ride their bikes with their little streamers, and people reenact the Revolutionary War. We have cannons that go off. The fire departments of the whole area come, and I have, let me think, I have 11 grandchildren. I think I've got 9 of them who are going to be with me, sitting right there watching the parade.
Is your daughter in from Florida, too?
She's here with her 4 children.
Oh, fantastic. That's beautiful. Well, listen, you enjoy the big birthday on Saturday. And again, thank you so much for being great on this program. I love you, KT. Thank you.
Can I just tell you one great thing everybody should do on the 4th of July?
Sure.
We do it every year.
Sure.
Read the Declaration of Independence.
I love that.
Get your family around. Everybody gets to read a paragraph. It'll just strike courage in your heart.
I really do love that. I do. Read the Declaration of Independence on Saturday. And we're going to do it. I love that idea, KT. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and happy 4th.
You too. I love her.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?